Hey, Phil here. Just a heads up that this episode includes descriptions of violence.
The Wind. With Fil Corbitt.
The sun is red as I eat peanut butter near a bone-dry cattle trough in a dining chair in the high Nevada August desert. The day before, I woke up wet in the misty rain over Pando Aspen Grove and breathed in life from the world's largest living organism, a massive clone forest. And today, I breathe in the death of a different forest, burning hundreds of miles away and entering my lungs as a thin, then heavy, gray sadness. When I return to pavement, the loneliest road in America, my phone understands it as a re-entry to civilization, and buzzes once. It's a text from a clown who I haven't heard from in a while. He says he'll be working in Winnemucca tonight and invites me up. So I take a right turn and drive north-ish as my radio coughs out the occasional sentence from This American Life. The clown is named Willie, and he'll be in a white Ram dually. It'll be parked behind the bull chutes, and he should have time to talk to me while he gets ready for tonight's rodeo. I'm Fil Corbitt, and this is The Wind.
I'm a roving cowboy, far away from home.
In the parking lot, a teenage cowboy rides a hoverboard and swings a lasso above his head. He successfully ropes a stationary plastic steer as his family looks on. I've been to bigger rodeos before, the major leagues, with carnival rides and TV cameras and the corporate sponsors of a pro football game. This rodeo is of the ranch hand variety, the minor leagues. But the bulls definitely look as big to me. When I meet Willie in the dirt parking lot, he's dressed in street clothes, and we drink a beer in the sun.
Well, we got the bucking bulls in the back pens. We got bucking horses in the back pens. We got pickup men. They're getting their horses ready. We got a few dogs running around. People just sitting around waiting for the action to start here in about an hour or so.
The rodeo ground is a big dirt oval, about the size and shape of a high school running track. At the southern edge are the stands, a big roofed section of stadium seating. Opposite the stands, on the north side of the oval, are the bull chutes, and above the bull chutes is a small room for the announcer. Then, behind the announcer, up against the interstate, is us. Willie drove in from Idaho Falls, and right now he's wrapping a barrel in black tape.
So I was just rewrapping it, getting some new tape, new skins on it, slapping my sponsor stickers on there. Just making sure it looks good so that way the people that help take care of me get a good promotional by having it looking good while it's sitting in the arena.
If you haven't seen a rodeo, the barrel is a sort of safe harbor for the rodeo clown. It's a human-sized canister with openings on top and bottom, the shape of a wine barrel. But it has handles inside, a bunch of padding, and kind of functions as a full-body helmet. If you can't get away from the charging bull, the clown can duck into the barrel and take the hit. It will often go flying or spinning or tumbling away while the clown holds tight inside.
Well, I mean, clowning, I've had a few concussions. Fighting bulls, let's see, I broke my neck now twice. Separated ribs. Thank God I've never broke an arm or a leg, but I've broke several ribs, separated ribs, 3 fractures in my neck, and most of those come from fighting. But in the barrel there's a lot of added risk because I cannot move away from them. So sitting in that barrel, if a bull does get his foot or horn in that barrel with you, it can turn really bad really quick.
Willie's friend Connor Dove stands beside us and intermittently crouches by the truck to prep his gear, tying ropes and going over each piece with a calm nervousness. I notice he has a gash across his chin.
I got talked into getting on a bull, and we collided heads, and I broke my jaw up here, and this is where it busted the skin open at. It's a completely different kind of adrenaline that it's kind of one of those things, once you try it, you either fall in love with it or you hate it. And when you first start riding broncs or bulls or doing rodeo events, the first time it happens, it's super fast and you're like, oh, I don't remember anything from it. But after you get on a bunch of them, everything starts slowing down and you can pay more attention to what you're doing. But you still have that high of that adrenaline.
You know, it's very hard to put into words how to describe what it feels like. The adrenaline rush, the thrill of everything that's going on. It's kind of like a car wreck when you're on there. You know, I mean, there's the aches and the pains that go along with the sport, as well as, you know, it seemed to me like in my mind when I was on them horses, like everything kind of slowed down, and it took every jump for jump and the explosion of that power, you know, from that animal up through your arm and just exploding through your entire body.
Yeah, I mean, that just sounds electric, I guess, you know.
That's a pretty good way to put it. Electric is a very good way to put it, because it feels like an explosion in your arm every jump. So,
Connor is a bronc rider from Montana, and he has a penchant for neon fabric, peppered between items of more traditional cowboy clothing. And so, what were you just putting on?
I was putting on cuffs.
And what are they? What do they look like?
They are from your wrist, and they go up about 6 inches up your arm to protect you from sagebrush and trees, protect your arm when you're roping and stuff.
And so when you wear them here, it's kind of more of a fashion statement, or is it more of kind of like a cultural thing? Like, how would you describe it?
I would describe it as a cultural deal and a style.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell a lot by where somebody's from by the style of their hat or how they have their boots, or what kind of gear they have, I guess.
At some point, Willie ducks behind the truck and gets changed into his gear.
well, I put on my baggies and my clown shirt. I typically wear either this one that I'm wearing, it's red with white stars, or I wear a pink and green polka dot one, depending on if it's pink night or not. My baggies are just oversized pants with scarves hanging from them, so that way I can, it just adds to the clown outfit. No clown is set without a big pair of pants. Fighters typically go between jerseys and shorts, or they'll have the same outfit just with cut off. They're more of a cut off, almost like a pair of shorts. So if they get hooked, then they come off.
Gotcha. Yeah, and then you got suspenders holding the pants up.
Well, if you wear pants 10 times your size, you probably want suspenders to hold them up too.
Rodeo clowns date back to the competitive rodeos of the early 1900s, and the role has remained largely unchanged. The clown, sometimes called a barrel man, has two basic jobs. First, bullfighting, which generally means distracting a bull after the rider is thrown, so that the rider can make a clean escape. The second role, often in the same breath, is to provide comic relief for a sport that can be pretty violent. The clown has a microphone and will talk to the crowd or interact with the announcer, just moments after dodging a 1,000-pound horned animal. It's a fascinating and nuanced role, standing in a threshold. He doesn't toggle between serious and funny, but instead holds both in full display. And though the stakes are heightened in the rodeo arena, this in-between place has classically been the domain of the clown.
They often play a very specific role in a storyline. And I think the core of that role is to offer or to provide something that's missing and move the story forward in a certain way and add a kind of dramatic tension.
This is Michael Bala, speaking on a show called In Other News Radio, used here with permission. Bala is a Jungian analyst, a family therapist, and also sometimes a clown.
Archetypes can take many forms, and I think about archetypes as patterns of energy emerging from the collective unconscious.
The clown archetype, he explains, is very old. And though often associated with the jesters and fools of European royal courts, it reaches at least as far back as 5th Dynasty Egypt, or 2400 BCE. A version of the clown can also be traced back to early indigenous people of North America.
In large part, the clowns play a disruptive role to the propriety of that's inherent in the sacred traditions.
Often called a ritual clown, this person in some Native American cultures would perform a sort of comic backwards ritual in tandem with the sacred ceremonies.
And in that disruptive role, there is often laughter, and that releases something that paradoxically actually supports the sacred rituals. It reminds people that they're human. They emerged from chaos, and chaos could easily reassert itself despite these sacred rituals, which were more about cosmology and ordering. I think they're clowns and behaving disorderly, in fact, focused on order and form and structure and the importance of that in the traditional culture.
I think the clown is a human performance of the trickster. And in dressing up in the classic clown costume, they don't only poke fun at society's failings, but also at their own.
At the end of the day, you got to be able to just look and know who you are as a person, I guess, in a sense. I mean, and that goes with everything. That doesn't just go with rodeoing, and it goes with your abilities to be comfortable as yourself. I mean, and clown and rodeo clowns they got to be funny. They got to be able to make fun of themselves, and that's why Willie and I get along so well. Is because I'm comfortable who I am.
Yeah, because I mean, like you were saying, what you're wearing too, it's bright, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, like it's not hard to notice. I'm very noticeable in a sense.
As the sun begins to dip, Willie and I climb into his truck and close the doors. I take the driver's seat, and he uses the passenger side mirror as he digs into a paint set on the center console.
First time my truck's ever been in a recording studio.
All right, so what is this paint you got?
So it's just a grease paint. What I do is every clown kind of has their own style. Mine is I do a red star on my right cheek, a blue star on my left cheek, kind of with an outline of a white paisley. Yeah. Is how I typically do mine.
Yeah, and so this is it's like Halloween face paint. Do you buy it in bulk or?
Yeah, typically I usually use a little bit better face paint, but this is what I was able to pick up in a short time. A lot of times I'll get a big tub of paint, and then that way I'll just kind of dip my finger in it and draw it on.
And so what's the pattern like, or how did you pick this design?
For me, I'm a big supporter of the military, a big supporter of America in general. I feel like I get to do what I do because I have the freedom given to me because of the people that have fought for me in the past and right now. My face paint is based on a salute to them, more so than anything. I do throw a cross in there because religious views. I don't mind how you feel, but that's just how I am. So that way I have my own style. Every clown has their own style, and they paint their face different based on who they are. So every clown has a different way of doing it. So
That star messed up your
yeah,
weapon.
I wasn't happy with that star, so we're gonna redraw it.
The rodeo begins after the break. This past year, I took part in the PRX Google Podcast Creator Program. And a big part of that was identifying goals and figuring out financial sustainability. For me, one of the most pressing goals is to keep this show independent. And so, I've decided to launch a Patreon. I think you and I will be best off with a show that is small, independent, and listener-supported. So, I'm here to ask you to become a patron. Head over to patreon.com/thewind. I will also post a link on my website, thewind.org, and choose a subscription level. You'll get early access to merch right now, and at $7 a month, you'll get the official Wind Listener patch. This is a chance to help me keep making this thing. That is patreon.com/thewind, or go to thewind.org and click donate. Thank you. From the announcer's booth on the elevated platform above the bull chutes, the PA system offers a steady stream of radio rock and commercial country hits, welcoming people into the dusty arena. Cowboys make their way to the back gates, while horses whinny and shift in the lines of metal trailers. I follow Willie and Connor inside and set up right on the bull chutes. In the big rodeos I've been to, there's usually a press area and some distance, but here I am within a few feet of the animals, occasionally leaning back so the young riders can slip past me and into position.
Colby's next.
As I stand on the wooden platform, Willie appears in the dirt arena.
Who's ready to see some balls tonight? Okay, we're better now. We'll get there.
And then the rodeo begins. They open the chutes and the young cowboy hangs on the back of a black bull, and his body snaps back, and then he's on the ground. The crowd groans. Willie makes a joke I can't quite hear, the announcer does the same, and then, next chute. They open the gate, and the cowboy hangs onto the back of a gray bull, and his body lurches sideways, and then he's scrambling in the dirt, hopping stiffly over the fence, and Willie and the bullfighter successfully convince the car-sized animal to lumber toward the exit. This repeats and repeats, and not a single rider holds.
Runs down just about at 3 seconds.
The minimum amount of riding time in rodeo before the rider gets judged is 8 seconds. And tonight, everybody is tasting dirt well before the bell. The wooden platform on the bull chutes beats a living rhythm under the heels of cowboy boots, and most of the riders look like kids to me. I'd guess many are just out of high school, or not far from it. And if they do well on the ranch hand circuit, they might make the big leagues. Even here, the prize money, though, is not meager, and many of the riders scratch a living from rodeo winnings, driving from town to town, sleeping in their trucks, riding broncs or bulls or roping or drinking Coors in the parking lot. Some come from ranches, some don't, entering a world with a sort of exotic, dusty glamour.
Far away
A kid climbs into the bull chute in front of me and onto the back of a huge animal, twitching and stomping in place. A small gang of cowboys surrounds him, some of the guys who had already had a shot, some who haven't yet, and they stand above him on the wooden floor. Several camera phones point down at him, uploading a few separate angles of the same ride to the rodeo algorithm on TikTok. When they open the chute, it's a hard lurch, and the kid's off balance quick. He falls in just seconds, only feet away from us, face down in a black helmet. And in the blink of an eye, the bull's back hoof comes down and clips his head. From there, it all moves at a different speed. The crowd gasps, and the bullfighters lure the animal away as Willie leaves his barrel and sprints towards the unmoving rider. The bull, indifferent, is gone, and Willie is now kneeling over the kid, and the air is silent and heavy. A small first aid crew snaps into action, but the kid's whole body is limp. And then an ambulance kicks up dust as it pulls in across the arena and blocks the view of the spectators. My view is also partially obscured by the other riders, but I see him move a hand, then the other. As he's loaded up and driven away, I hear somebody say he was moving his feet, and that is the last I hear of it. Willie regroups, gets back to his barrel, and then the whole thing sputters back to life.
Definitely not what we want to see. I want you to notice something though. We got picket men move out in there. We got a bullfighters, we got a clown. They all jump right into action. They're going to make sure that they take care of that cowboy at all costs. As well as making whole like always are competing against him.
Willie didn't start as a rodeo clown. He originally got into rodeo as a bull rider.
Well, I didn't start riding until I was 18 and I could sign my own releases. Mom and Dad didn't care much for rodeo. I went to a rodeo as a kid, probably about 8, 9 years old. It was just a junior rodeo, saw some people riding, decided that that's what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a bull rider, and rode them for about 3 or 4 years. And then just one day decided, my buddy asked me if I wanted to get on a bareback horse, so I got on a bareback horse and slowly switched from bull riding to bareback riding, and then transitioned into wanting to fight bulls because I love the sport of bull riding, and started fighting bulls, and then ended up becoming a clown with being a bullfighter. My future in clowning is a lot better, than my future in fighting bulls. You can only fight bulls for so long before finally your body says enough, and that's just kind of how I felt. I wanted to continue my career in rodeo, and this was how I saw it being. First time I went out, told a few jokes, people reacted, people laughed, and being able to make people laugh, it was an addiction.
After the bulls, they bring in the broncos. One horse gets flighty in the chute and somehow gets its front hooves up and out, almost escaping onto the platform. A group of men fall into action and manage to work in tandem to pull this desperate horse back into the chute. And after some sharp words between men, it settles back to normal. Connor, in his neon shirt, gets hyped up in the wings.
Connor down!
Number 3, Connor down. He's ready. And a smart, tiny cowboy, and he is dressed, as they say, to the nines.
Let's go, boys!
And then he's on the horse, and the horse goes running in a straight line to the south towards the crowd, like a bottle rocket skipping across a lake. It's lightning fast, and when he reaches the other side, he gets thrown, but he lands clean. But he unfortunately just misses the 8-second marker, so he will not receive a score. Out under the lights, Connor and Willie share a quick word, a moment of camaraderie. Then Willie goes back to work. At some point, he hops up and stands upright on the top of the barrel, his feet on its edges. And he tells jokes to the audience about the wildfire smoke.
I'm still trying to figure how they talk me into sitting out here.
Well, I don't know.
I can't help but feel a bit of whiplash. Tired from driving, sunburnt, sore throat, the sound of the ambulance still leaving the arena. How could you so easily joke after kneeling above an unconscious kid? But then again, how could you not? It's not just the show that must go on, but everything. I think back to something Michael Bala said about the ritual clown.
They highlighted that disorder exists with order, that the divine and the human are absolutely linked. The sacred and the profane coexist. Clowns would play at the edges of what was proper, and in doing so, they highlighted what could be a one-sided sacred approach that didn't always allow for disruption, for the chaos that is inherent in our lives.
And then things turn. After another bronc ride, the rider gets back to the chutes, but before the next guy goes, the crowd and the cowboys collectively notice a horse at the exit gate in a weird position. Not just weird, but seemingly defying physics. The entire horse is upside down, head on the arena floor, and his back leg is somehow caught 6 or 7 feet above, hanging his body at a terrible angle. I struggle to understand what's happened, but I piece together that the horse must have tried to jump the fence, then got its back leg stuck above the top hinge of the gate. Again, the crew, action. Willie is over the horse in seconds, trying to calm him, and Connor sprints across the arena with a rope. Connor scales the fence and ties a knot around the horse's back leg. The way the exit gate is constructed, there is a sort of tall metal archway over the opening, so Connor tosses his rope over the crossbar, creating a sort of makeshift crane. As the vet gets to the panicking horse, Connor tries to lift him free, pulling the back leg up out of the hinge. But it doesn't budge. It's pinned, and we all stand and look on as attempt after attempt fails to pull the horse out. Willie has taken the job of comforting the animal and holds his head, trying to keep him from struggling further in. But the mood on the chutes sours as the collective realization seems to crash over like a wave on jagged rocks. A horse trailer pulls into the arena and blocks the eye line of the audience. Connor unties the rope.
They're trying to calm the horse. I can see that from here. Trying to get his leg unstuck. This is something I've never seen before.
And with the crowd's eye line broken, a kids' event starts on a smaller track closer to the stands. But my eye stays on the horse, and the vet administers an injection. Willie stays mostly still, kneeling over the horse's head, keeping him calm. Then, another injection. The horse keeps kicking, and then another injection. The horse fights until it stops. And then a forklift moves its lifeless body into the horse trailer, and they pull slowly out of the arena.
Well, they're making their way out. We got the vet, so let's see if we can't make things better.
The announcer says it's on its way to get checked out, but that seems like a comment for the kids. The small makeshift animal first aid team disperses, and I see Willie walk a crooked line back toward the chutes. He exhales and crouches against the fence, his face and head in his hands. From where I'm standing, I can't say for sure, but if he's tearing up, he's not alone. Cowboys on the wooden platform hang their heads and kick splinters into the smoky air. The clown is a figure on the edge. In rodeo, where the experience of life is heightened by proximity to risk, the clown is the narrator, standing above on a fence in a tricky performative balancing act. We emerged from chaos, and when we approach that door, sometimes the clown is there, waiting at the threshold.
Then carry me back to the lone prairie, where the coyote howl and the wind blows free. When I die, you can bury me beneath the western sky on the lone prairie.
Wind is produced by me, Fil Corbitt. This season was made with support from the Google Podcast Creator Program through PRX. Links, photos, live show calendar, and more at thewind.org. And if you want to support, first subscribe on your podcast app, and then become a patron. Head to the brand new patreon.com/thewind or click the link in our website. You can set up a monthly donation to help me keep this thing going. That's patreon.com/thewind. Thank you to Michael Branch, who wrote a short story on the rodeo that partially inspired my curiosity in the Rodeo Clown. Thanks to Geoff from In Other News Radio, who interviewed Michael Bala. I'll post a link to that on the website. And thanks to Willie and Connor for talking with me. The music in this episode was Rovin' Cowboy and In the Gloaming from the public domain, plus a track from friend of the show, Yclept Insan. Thank you for being here, and keep listening.